And now the grand finale, Call to Arms Season 4 Final Round, Round 6, Order of the Green Lady versus Salamanders again.
Hello there! I like to watch battle reports to get better at games. So I started making short, summarized battle reports that focus on learning points. So welcome to my channel, Newbie Dice. Do like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you enjoy my videos.
So we're finally at the final round of Call to Arms Season 4. For some reason, it kind of this time around it feels like a long time. People are not just myself, other people have been feeling a little bit burned out already. I'm not exactly sure why. I think part of the reason is because of this COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of people are playing more universal battle games online, so it feels like we've been playing a lot of games already, and the lack of physical games doesn't help either. And for myself, I did put a little bit more pressure on myself. I really want to perform well in this league, so that I think the pressure is getting to me as well. Another thing would be the live streaming. So the live streaming has sort of opened up a lot of coverage on this event, and I've been watching a lot of the other games that are being live streamed by Dash 28. So I think that also makes me feel, watching the game makes you feel like you are playing the game as well. And I think it's a combination of all these factors that make it feel like this league has been running for a long time, and people are starting to feel a little bit of burnout. And yeah, 6 rounds, 2 weeks to play each round. That is 12 weeks, and that is pretty much 3 months, a quarter of a year. So that's still quite a long time. So let's get into this. This is my final round. I've been having a record of 3 wins, 1 win, and 1 loss. So fresh off the defeat of my 5th round, which was against Salamanders, this time I'm facing off against Salamanders again. So in the last round, I sort of switched up my list a little bit to basically fit in 2 unicorns, because I wanted to have that Lightning Bolt 10. With Lightning Bolt 10, it seems to be a little bit more reliable against shooting down chaff. Lightning Bolt 5 is kind of, there's a threat there, but it's not very likely to kill, and in fact against 911 it's more likely to just waver for 1 round and not very high chance of killing it at 1 shot. So in the last round I placed 2 unicorns for that Lightning Bolt 10, but because unicorns cost more, I sort of have to shuffle my things around. Mainly I dropped my Man-at-Arm Retainer Hordes into Regiment, which is a very big blow to them, because Hordes can eat 1 round of combat from almost anything and survive, but Regiment would die to anything strong that hit them 1 round. So this time, sometimes when you build a list, all the things seem to come together, and it's just the right balance of everything. And I found that this was my list that I played basically in round 2, 3, and 4. In fact, this is almost the same list as round 1. It's just a 5-point item that's being shuffled around since my round 1 list. So I decided to go back to this list. Yeah, and it feels like everything is a little bit balanced, a little bit better balanced in this list. So when I try to skew it one way, it sort of turned out badly against myself. So it's not just my round 5 gain. I did have that Lightning Bolt 10 with pretty much nothing good to shoot at, but I've played other test games with it as well. And when I have Lightning Bolt 10, there's that pressure, there's that expectation that I've invested these points into it, and that I hope that the Lightning Bolt 10 would yield some results. And whenever the dice skew not in my favor, it feels like I wasted a lot of points, because a unicorn is 120 points, where Lightning Bolt 5, you can get Lightning Bolt 5 at 90 points from a Redkin Warlock, for example. So I'm paying 30 extra points. For 1 unicorn, it's fine. For 2 unicorns, that's 260 extra points. And I will feel the need to put them together so that I can blast Lightning Bolt 10 at the same target. So when I split it up, it's also not as effective. So when I drop down to 1 unicorn, it's sort of, with that Lightning Bolt 5, it's like I don't expect it to do a lot. And when it does a little bit of damage, even just a little bit, it's a bonus. So that's the difference when I feel Lightning Bolt 5 and Lightning Bolt 10. So let's go on to the opponent's list. So straight off the bat, you'll see 2 hordes of Ceremonial Guard, so that is a little bit scary. A good thing though is one of it has Life Leech, and the other one has Pipes of Terror, so there's no Brew of Strength. so not as scary in that aspect. The Ancients has Aegis of the Elo High, so they will be very tanky. Let's see where his Brew of Strength when Tyrants. One of it has Brew of Sharpness, and one of it has J-Boots, 2 Lachilodons, pretty standard. 1 Phoenix, pretty good as well. A Herald with Bane Chant. So some Salamanders list they don't run Bane Chant because their wizards are quite expensive, but this is a Flag Bearer with Bane Chant. The Flag Bearer is also on the expensive side, but it is quite tough at defense 5, 10, 12, right? The Battle Captain has, there's one Battle Captain on foot with the special upgrade that gives Pathfinder Aura to the infantry. And he has a Battle Captain on Rhinosaur, Blade of Slashing, and a Clan Lord on Fire Drake with Blessing of the Gods. So 12 units versus my 13, I think. I have 13, yep. And 22 unit strength versus my 25. So let's see how things goes. And so deployment, we dropped our stuff down. This scenario is Salt the Earth. Salt the Earth is a very interesting scenario because you don't know when you should burn the token. So Salt the Earth basically, when you control a token, you can burn it at the end of the turn. You don't score any points for burning. You are just removing that objective for the rest of the game, so that cannot be scored. So it's very interesting because you will have some on your side and then there's those on the opponent's side, right? So obviously if you are losing a certain flank, you want to burn it off. And then for an Alpha Strike army, if I'm charging away from the tokens in my base, in my half of the board, do I burn them first, you know? So sometimes you burn them and you charge off. In the end, you did not win that combat and then you lost the token on your side and then you can't score. So those are the things you have to take note of, because you have to burn it when you control it, right? That means you have to predict one round before that you're going to lose this side, or for whatever reason you have to predict one turn before what's going to happen. That's why you want to burn off the tokens. So for myself, I deployed in sort of a pincer formation. So what's a pincer? Basically, it's a little bit light in the middle. So if you can see my middle, it's only the horde of the footmen and one of the earth elementals and the water elementals. So they deployed quite early. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and the druid there to inspire both of them. And I've learned to be a little bit more disciplined. Sometimes I deploy my stuff funky. Now I'm trying to stay to what works, the druid in the center, so that it can do the Bane Chant and more importantly search in either direction. Sometimes when I put a druid to the side, you can never search some things, right? So I deployed quite lightly in the middle and I deployed very heavily on the sides, so hoping to sweep across from, and if you can see I'm a little bit actually much heavier on the left side. Well, not really as well, because I have 2 cavalry on the right, and I have only one of the Forsaken on the left, but also 2 Beasts of Nature. Also, in this game, I'm sort of testing out playing 2 beasts on one side. I tend to like to play one on each side because that forces that 20-inch move and turn, and the opponents have to deal with it. So when I pressure from both sides, I kind of like it. But when you pressure from one side, it's also fine, especially when you can force a falter in their lines and then you dive in. So one thing to take note is that I won the deployment role. That means I choose the side. So I was hoping this rocks and these forests would kind of hinder him, and so I chose the top. Yeah, I was hoping this forest in the middle would help me delay the center as well. But he does have that Pathfinder aura giving hero to his blocks, so you can see his blocks are all in the middle. And the Tyrants doesn't benefit from the Pathfinder aura because they're not heavy infantry. And one thing to note also is he deployed his forces quite centrally. There's a very obvious missing of troops on the 2 sides, which I'm hoping to capitalize on so that I can swing in from the 2 sides. Okay, so initiative roll. My opponent won the initiative roll, and so he went first. So he shuffled everything up first. So he sort of pushed everything up. So he realized that, oh, there's 2 Beasts of Natures on this side. So he turned his Tyrants to face the threat. So this set of Tyrants is playing this, what you call this, the flank protection role. Okay, which is pretty good because the Tyrants have that wild charge D3, so they have that potential to charge 15 inches. So when you want to be careful, you want to be out of 15 inches away, and because it's wild charge D3, they don't pay the full tax or the points to have that always on 15-inch threat range. So for myself, I shuffled my things up and I moved these two Beasts of Nature on the left side to threaten the flank, and probably staying out of 15 inches of the Tyrants on the left side. The Unicorn sort of took a pot shot at the Rhinosaur Captain. I was hoping to chip him off to a point where, you know, a charge from an 18 attack charge would be confidently taking them off. So the center, I move into the forest. So just poking into the forest with that leader point. So the chevron is showing my leader point. Being able to see for the men at arms. So I position myself such that there's all my units are sort of protecting each other. Let me draw it out. So whatever unit of mine gets charged, I can retaliate with sort of a flank charge from another unit. Okay. So there's this U shape being formed here, right? So that I can see each other unit. You can see it's roughly formed in this shape. Yeah. So that wherever charge, I can kind of charge back. The only exception is that my men at arms are a little bit further forward because it wants to peek into the forest. Because if I stay behind the forest, then he can just move up without fearing the threat of the men at arms. So I have to peek into the forest. So because of this, you can notice that it is much more forward than the other units. And so I think he capitalized on this, right? So you notice the men at arms couldn't see anything that charged the water elementals. So my opponent decided to YOLO this, and he charged his Fire Drake, Cannon on Fire Drake, and the Phoenix into it, hoping to break the water elementals. But the odds aren't great. I'll let you know first. So let's see what happens. Unfortunately, I didn't take that top of 2 shot, but basically the Phoenix and the Fire Drake both went in like this. So I'll draw it out. And to prevent him from burning any tokens in my base, I do have my units all within 3 inches of the objective here, except this one over here, right? This is actually more on his side. And I was hoping to get it maybe with the Pegasus if he doesn't send anything to contest it, right? So the Fire Drake and the Phoenix did charge up. And I sort of got a little bit worried for a moment, because even if he didn't route my water elementals, he still has a strong force in the ceremonial guards and the tyrants behind to deal with me. And if he did route the water elementals, I'll be in a lot of trouble, because the Fire Drake will turn to face the right side. Okay, and then the Phoenix can face the left side, and the Phoenix can threaten the left side because nothing can charge it, right? So that is the fear, but thankfully no spiky rolls, and he did not rout me. And so my Redemption Knights killed off the Fire Drake by charging it in the flank. Unfortunately, my men at arms remember that they can't charge the Phoenix, so only the water elementals countercharged at the Phoenix, and he dealt quite a bit of damage, but no kill, right? And one thing to take note as well, I made a mistake of rolling the Phoenix's nerf first, because at first I want to see how the less guaranteed kill, how it plays out, but I forgot that actually I should kill off the Inspiring Source first. So there is this priority list of which combat to do first, right? So in the meantime, let me talk about my let me finish off the right side, right? So after my Redemption Knights kill off the Fire Drake, I did this thing earlier. As I was planning my move, I realized that if I face my Redemption Knight in this direction, right, in this diagonal direction, it will be out of range, out of this 10 inches of the what do you call this, the ceremonial guard. Okay, that means he can't charge me, right? And then what I did on the right side is I placed this Pegasus here, And so there's this gap over here that is not enough for the tyrants to pass through, so it can't charge through from here, right? And then what I fail to realize is that by positioning my Redemption Knight in this diagonal angle, the tyrants could just nice clip the edge of this Redemption Knights. So in the end, to prevent the tyrant from charging the Redemption Knights, I turn to face this way, so that the tyrants, when they clear the Pegasus, they couldn't charge the Redemption Knights. Then after that, I realized, oh, by swiveling it to face this way, it's within 10 inches of the Ceremonial Guard. So I could have planned this out a little bit better. I think there is enough space for me to push the Pegasus a little bit more. I should have been a little bit more diligent and maximize that space allowance. As long as this space is just not enough for the tyrants to pass through, it's fine. And especially when the tyrants doesn't have nimble, right? So even if it's just enough, it couldn't turn a second time to charge whatever's behind. So I could have been a little bit more careful there with the positioning of the Pegasus a little bit more to the side. Okay, with the Green Knights out of range, I sort of moved and turned to the side, staying within 3 inches of this token in case I want to sit on it or in case I want to burn it. Not sure yet. Okay, for the center, I did so because it's a pincel, right? I want to delay the center as much as possible. So what I did was I pull back my 2 units out of the forest, so then they can't be charged. So this is out of 10 inches, right? And then the ancients couldn't even see the earth elementals, and of course the men-at-arms are out of the forest as well, and so the ancients can't see it as well. So for the right side, sorry, for the left side over here, let's look at the left side. Let's switch to the pointer. And so what he did was, if you notice, he turned all his stuff, angled his stuff towards the left side to prevent any flank charges. Okay, so the only flank charge was against this Ceremonial Guard, and then he kind of blocked it with the Captain and the Tyrants over here. So because of that, I did not charge this bottom of 2. I did not charge in because I thought that, oh, I'm already 1 Fire Drake up, right? So I'm winning on the right side, so let me give myself more time to position on the left to win the left side instead of diving in without good odds. And so I took another turn to reposition. So out of my 2 Beasts of Nature, the other one flew further upwards to threaten the flank, right? Whereas this one that's a little bit further back, it pulled back instead. So that anything that charges will get hindered over here. So this beast is now threatening the flank of the Tyrants. All this stuff shuffled forward. The Water Elemental Regiment swing across this obstacle to aid the center a little bit more, because I think his duty will be to slow down the Ceremonial Guard anyway, and then I could also have the option of slowing down the Ancients if there's a need. So let's look at what my opponent did. So first things first, on the right side, the Phoenix just punched back, and by the way, the Water Elementals took some wounds from the Fire Drake and the Phoenix, right? But it kind of regen back, and the last round I didn't need Bane Chan because crushing 3 on the Redemption Knights, crushing 1 on the Phoenix. So my Druid did a heal 2 as well, yeah. So what he did was his Ceremonial Guards plus the Lechilodon double charged the Redemption Knights and kill it. So like, oh my goodness. And what's more, so what he did was he sidestepped the Lechilodon to the right, and then he sidestepped the Ceremonial Guards to the left, and just nice in this angle, my Green Knights, my normal Brotherhood, couldn't charge in because of the angle it has to clear. So if I rotate and charge, I will miss the Ceremonial Guards. So that's pretty unfortunate for me, and then I'm like, oh dear, right? So I could only charge the Tyrants, and there's no Inspiring Source. He only has 2 Inspiring Source, the Clan Lord on Fire Drake and the Herald. The Herald is this one over here. The Pathfinder Aura Battle Captain is this one. Battle Captain is not a general like hero that does, so it doesn't give that inspiring. So what I do have though is the flank charge from the Men-at-Arms, 50 attacks hitting on 5s because it will be hindered, and I could get a Bane Chant off. So that's still pretty hopeful, but I don't think that's a 1 round kind of potential. So let's look at what happened on the other side. So he kind of shuffles around, trying to hold the center, and then what I think his forces backed up. So this is the previous round, right? So if you look at the center and the left forces, all the forces here kind of backed up. Okay, to get this Beast of Nature in the front again. But what happened in this moment as well was that when he backed up 3 inches of the Tyrant, it's still within 20 inches charge range of the Forsaken Knights, right? Out of the Forsaken. And you notice round 1 I lightning bolted the Battle Captain on Rhinosaur. The round 2 I lightning bolted the Tyrants, and with this 2 damage it gives me the confidence that I have a good chance of 1 rounding the Tyrants. Okay, so what else do we need to take note of? I think that's it. Let's go. So these men-at-arms expectedly go in did I think surprisingly better than average damage, and the Water Elementals killed off the Phoenix after 2 rounds. My Pegasus over here that kind of chaffed up was already killed by the Tyrants. My Knights went in, but sadly it did not do near enough, because I think on average I'll deal about 9 or 10 damage, and that still gives me a good chance. I forgot Tyrants are 17 or 18 nerf. I think they're 17, so they're on average I'll need a 8, 7 to 8 to route. So, and I only need to roll it once because he has no inspiring source, so that's a good chance, but I did way less than average damage, so that's pretty sad over here. And what's more, let's see. Okay, so on the left side, so my Water Elementals did go in to chaff up the Ceremonial Guard. So my Forsaken Horde did kill off the Tyrants, and now I'm facing the flank, right? And I triple charged the Lechilodon with these 3 units, the Pegasus, the Unicorn, and the Beast of Nature, because there's nothing better to do. With all the things locked in combat, my Unicorn sort of can only shoot at, I think, the Ancients. Maybe not also, because there's this hill over here, and I couldn't shoot at the Herald as well. So I say, might as well charge it then. Killed the Lechilodon. What's surprising is that the Beast of Nature killed the Rhinosaur on Captain on Rhinosaur, not the Rhinosaur on Captain. Captain on Rhinosaur. And yeah, that was pretty lucky, right? And it's still inspired. And so I got 2 high rolls twice to kill the Rhinosaur Captain. Let's see his response. So he kind of countercharged the men-at-arms, and with the charge from the Battle Captain, it wavered the men-at-arms. But the nice thing I like about the men-at-arms for this army Green Lady is that they have Headstrong, which is pretty cool. Okay, so the Lechilodon chaffed up the Water Elementals, and what's worse, the Tyrants that have a not 50%, but a nice chance of 1 rounding it. Instead, he 1 rounded me back in return, and maybe this is the one with Brew of Sharpness. So if he has Brew of Sharpness, then that's pretty much expected, right? Okay, so more shuffling around by these units over here. Thankfully, if you notice the previous round, I think the Ancients couldn't see my men-at-arms that charge it in the flank. Yep. So more repositioning, getting ready for all these charges, and so he protected the flank of the Ancients with this 1 Herald over here. So I have to kill it, and I think even my overrun would bring it out, because my Beast of Nature would charge it. Let's switch the pen. Would charge it, would face it here, right? And then you continue overrunning here, so I might not clip the Ancients. So I might not even kill the Herald in the first place, right? So with all these staring down at me, I was like, wow, even if I triple charge everything in because of Phalanx, I still don't think it's very good odds of killing it. So I decided to do something else. So let's see what happened. So so let's see. The men-at-arms second round killed off what do you call it? The Ceremonial Guard. I think with a flank charge from the water elementals, right? Yeah. I bounce back and charged it in the flank just to make sure it dies. And because yeah, if I charge it in the front, it's only 12 hits, and even with Bane Chan, that's only 6 wounds. So I wanted to make sure it dies, so charged it with the water elementals as well. So that means the MacLeod is free to move around as well. Yeah, so one of the Beasts of Nature went into the Herald, hoping to get an overrun. I think even at this point, the overrun wouldn't hit the Ancients. The Ancients did get hit in the flank with the Earth Elemental, though. I think it is a Surge. Yeah, I surged it in. Yeah, from here, I have turned to face this way. So I'll be like this. So I'll hit him at the corner and get a flank charge. And the Pegasus charged it in front to sort of pin it in place also, so that it can't charge this way, right? So what happened with the Ceremonial Guard? I charged the Forsaken Knights in the front and positioned the Beast of Nature to charge it in the flank next round, because I was hoping the Forsaken Knights would survive one round. Why? Because I did disorder his Bane Chant sword, so he will not have Bane Chant. So that's like 15 hits and 8 wounds, right? And at that 15, 17, I have a good chance of surviving. And for Forsaken Knights, they do have Headstrong. That's why I decided to send the Forsaken Knights in instead of the Beast, because the Beast, if it's wavered, then it doesn't fight. Alright. Wow, I only dealt like 2 damage. And what he did in return, he killed off my Forsaken Knights. So that's off the table. And then he turned around to face the beast that was about to flank him. Now I'm gonna charge from the front, and with phalanx, once again, not good odds of killing him off. The good thing though is still a good thing that I put this beast here. Now when he faced my beast here and my beast flies away, he has the Ceremonial Guard has nothing to charge next round. So that was exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, let's look at the top here. The MacLeod kind of turns around and spits at the water elemental, but I think didn't do any damage. Now the foot soldiers here, right? He got charged by 2 heroes, the Herald and the, what do you call it, the Battle Captain. And guess what? They're wavered again. And so I do have to pass that Headstrong, right? So now over here, the Ancients charged at the Pegasus and wavered it, right? So that's the purple star over here. So what I did in response, my water elementals charged the MacLeod. This Man-at-Arms passed his Headstrong and charged the Herald, because the Herald took 4 damage already. So I got a very good chance of killing it and then overrun into the Captain. Somehow it is an inspiring source, so I can kill it first and remove that reroll, right? Probably got the Bane Chant in. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Not sure. So I overrun, killed off the Herald, overrun into the Captain, dealt 5 damage to it, but no kill or waver. Okay, so the beast that was here flew away because now it's getting ready to, at this point, bottom of 5, next round might be his last round. So right now I'm trying to fly away and get all the objectives. So the Beast of Nature here has a choice of these 2 objectives, while these beasts, I think I'm in range to fly 20 into here, right? Water Elemental is already holding 1, so I already have 1, 2, 3, that's what I'm planning. 4, the one in the center, right? And this Pegasus is getting ready to fly away to get this one. So I did charge the Unicorn in. So the Pegasus was wavered, so it bounced off and turned around. So I charged the Unicorn in so that hopefully couldn't kill the Unicorn, and on average it doesn't kill the Unicorn, right? Because the Ancients only has 12 attacks and crushing 1. Bane Chant is gone, so there's like 8 hits and 4 wounds to kill on the Unicorn, and he's like 12-14. So the what do you call this? The Earth Elementals charged in again, and I think no Bane Chant from this Druid, because it's Bane Chanting the Man-at-Arms. So actually I didn't calculate it very well. I thought that the Earth Elementals in the flank would uh, naturally kill off the Ancients, but in the end it still didn't do enough, especially when he does have the Aegis of the Elo High, right? And yeah, I think if I rolled well, I would have killed it, but I didn't roll well, so I didn't kill it. So, oh, one thing I totally forgot was that the Ancients are inspiring, so he does have 3 inspiring sources in his list. So let's see. So the beast that was facing off against the Ceremonial Guard sort of flew away, right? So I just want to dance around the Ceremonial Guard. With his units dwindling down, I can afford to just maneuver around. Right, I missed the top of 6 picture, but basically he killed the unicorn. Not supposed to happen on average, but hey, average out the window. And then he overran into the Pegasus and killed it too, right? So he killed both, and so there goes my plan of scoring max for objectives. I do want to score max for objectives because this is the last round, so every bit of VP counts, every bit of tournament point counts to the final standing. So by playing this, I lost the chance of getting full points, I think. So what happened next? So I flew 1 beast to score here. My water elemental is holding here. My earth elemental is holding the center token. And so he's holding 1 token over here as well. So the thing is, if he left that token to go for the center, then he would still score 1 and he would still lose in the final attrition. So I position my Beast of Nature, this one over here, so that even if the Ceremonial Guard kills it, right, I think it's not able to score. So it is a horde, right? But so he can potentially turn around and score 2 tokens at the same time because it is unit strength 4. But that would mean because if there is a top of 7 and he did kill off the Beast of Nature and turn around sideways, that means I do get that flank charge with this Earth Elementals, and my Beast of Nature is also here. I think it will be within charge range. So alas, he did not. So what he did was he charged the Ceremonial Guard and the Battle Captain. Guess what? It's still alive. It's down here just now. Yeah. So he killed off the Battle Captain alone, killed off the heavily wounded foot soldiers. So now the Battle Captain charged the beast with the assistance from the Ceremonial Guard, killed it off, and so my Earth Elementals killed off the Ceremonial, not the Ceremonial Guard, the Battle Captain on foot. So let's go to learning points. So defending against the pincer formation that I have, it's good to have some flank protection. So when you deploy so centrally, you're foregoing protecting the flank, right? So if I draw it out, right, so I have forces like this, and like this, and like this. So even when your forces are more central, right, by putting something on the extreme sides, right, it forces me to not be able to turn around, because if I turn around this way, you can charge me in the flank, right? So to have that little bit of a fast, not very strong, not very expensive, but a credible enough threat that I want to not give my flank to it, would be a good flank protection. So yeah, if you notice, in the early game I formed that U shape where my units are sort of protecting each other. Yeah, so whichever that's being charged, you get flank charged in return. So maximize the positioning. If I pushed my Pegasus, there's a rock here and the Pegasus here. So if I've maximized this space, my Redemption Knights will not have been charged. So don't be too hasty to go in, especially when you have the time. So there's 2 reasons that I have the time advantage. The first reason was that I'm the bottom of the turn player. Yeah, so I do have one like sort of a final say or a final turn to have that final combat, which proved important at the end, right? So that's why he couldn't charge and turn around and face 2 and hold 2 tokens. And I was sort of winning on the right side because I did have a 1 clan lord advantage. I killed that clan lord on Fire Drake first. So the left side I could afford to position a little bit more, force him to shuffle around, because the thing about rank and flank game is you can't position perfectly. So at some point there would be some cracks that I could take advantage of. So choose your battles, delay what you can't deal with, like the final ceremonial guards. Halfway through I know I can't deal with it, so I sort of ignore it and I delay as much as possible by having it turn to face the bottom and then I fly away. Yeah, and yeah, I ignored it. And the center as well, I sort of backed out of the forest, buying me 1 turn. So find ways to waste the opponent's unit's turn, like the ceremonial guard, right? It turned to face my piece of nature at the bottom, and then I flew my piece of nature away, so he spent 1 turn not fighting. Yeah, so fly away and get out of line of sight with terrain like the forest in the middle, and move away from the opponent's front arc, etc. And so we've come to the end of this Call to Arms League, and I just managed to squeeze myself in the 10th position for the league. So this is me over here, and 117. And another notable achievement is that I did stick with Order of the Green Lady all the way, and so managed to win best in race for Order of the Green Lady as well. I am a little bit tempted by the end of this 12 weeks. 12 weeks is a very long time, right? A quarter of a year, right? So I did experiment with other builds and other armies as well. I was very tempted to play a different army in the last round, and so I still stuck with Order of the Green Lady for that final game and managed to get the best in race. So it's pretty funny because when I started this league, this Order of the Green Ladies like 12 weeks ago, Order of the Green Lady was not a very popular race or faction back then when I just started, or just before we entered. But somehow at the start of the league and the first few weeks, it turns out that Order of the Green Lady became very popular, and so hipster not hipster anymore, right? Call to Arms, there are a lot of people that are playing it more on a casual level, even like very high level players that are playing it at a casual level, because for them, right, they say like, oh, this is just an online tournament. I do have physical tournaments that I like to attend and be a little bit more serious about. So for Universal Battle, especially because it's Universal Battle, I like to try new things, different things, right? Especially when I don't need to have the physical models. But for myself, I'm all the way in Singapore, so other than my local tournaments, I don't get to play with rub shoulders with these top players as often. So I do want to try my best in the Call to Arms games. So yeah, no right or wrong, just an observation here, and I do want to continue to play my best in Call to Arms leagues and play with the rest of the world. So it's a great opportunity, and after taking a little bit of a break, when the next season arrives, I think I will be playing in it as well. And yeah, and I am modeling the army in real life also during this pandemic period, and this is my proudest unit so far. It is Mantic horses with some putty and sort of a hybrid sealant material painted, and it looks like water horses from Lord of the Rings. And as this picture was taken just when it was just done, right? As of now, the sealant sort of turned in color, right? After it sort of set and oxidized, it's a little bit greenish now. So I think it's not too bad. So what I need to do is to paint the horses a little bit greenish to match the discoloration of the sealant material, and it'll be not a pure clean looking blue waters, but a little bit greenish now. So I will have a showcase of the army when I complete the entire army. I'm down to the last few actually. I'm down to finishing the Horde of Forsaken Knights and the Horde of Earth Elementals. So the army will be fully Mantic. Actually, I do lack one unicorn as well, but I will be waiting for the League of Infamy for the unicorn, because I didn't want to use the Mantic horses, because I think a unicorn shouldn't have any armor or harness. It's like a champion mythical creature of nature, so it shouldn't have any piece of battle armor on. So I will wait for the Mantic League of Infamy model to be out. So my next army, and going forward, so this is the last round. So if you'd like to watch the all 6 rounds, I do have a playlist for the Call to Arms. In fact, I have a playlist for Call to Arms 2, 3, and 4. Season 2 of Call to Arms, however, is a second edition of Kings of War, right? So you can check out the playlist. And going forward, my next army will be uh, the Abyss, Forces of the Abyss. So I am testing it out right now. I do have all the Mantic models, and I'm playing with different builds before I make the actual model. So it's a little bit strange that after I finish modeling the real army of Order of the Green Lady, then it's time that I wanted to move on to the next army. So I have yet to play a game with the real army pieces, right? The actual physical units, and I'm already like tired of Order of the Green Lady, moving on to the next army project already. So, well, I hope to play some real life games with it. So, and as of now, when I finish this, this is battle report number 29 or video number 29. I have another 10 games played and all the screenshots are ready. So moving forward, I think I will not be able to make battle reports of every single game I play. So I think I will have to pick and choose based on which games I find that is more interesting in terms of what happened or in terms of the armies that were being played. Because yeah, I already have lots of Green Lady army games, lots of Basileia. So if there are games where I'm playing different armies, I think I'll try to showcase that a little bit. And that's it. If you enjoyed this battle report, this video, this coverage, whatever it is, do subscribe. So subscribing to the channel is a big boost and encouragement to me. So I hope you can subscribe if you enjoyed my content. And things that I have down the pipeline, I think I will be doing a tactics video. And yeah, the hobby showcase of my models for Green Lady, and then Abyss will be coming up next. And so I'll see you in the next one, right? Like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification icon. See you. more.